Good evening, everyone. So today I'm going to be doing a vinyl show and tell for two albums, both of them related to Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters. The first is the Foo Fighters' most recent album, Sonic Highways. The other is Sound City Reel to Reel, the soundtrack to the documentary about Sound City and the Neve Music Board. Posted a video yesterday, actually two videos. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On and the Mudhoney 7-inch Touch Me I'm Sick single. One of my subscribers kind of inspired me to make this video. He had mentioned the Sonic Highways HBO series where the Foo Fighters had documented each city they had gone to and where they had recorded the whole album, and they had gone city to city to different hot spots in the United States, and it was just a clever idea for at least especially the modern day music scene, and everything being digital and everything being on computers, and they kind of went back to the roots and went back to took like a music history tour and wrote a record while they did it. Very inspiring. I'm a huge fan of Dave Grohl, obviously from his days with Nirvana. The unbelievable transition from going from that band to making his own band, and not only just that, writing the entire first album and playing every instrument on that album. I just thought that was just insane to go from what Nirvana became to just stripping it down and going solo and just kind of making music because he loved making music, and what that project has developed into. But I mean, the guy, it's like whatever he does turns to gold. I mean, whether it be Probot, Sound City, drumming on the Tenacious D albums, drumming with Queens of the Stone Age. I mean, the guy has just got it. And when somebody had brought the subscriber had brought that up, Sonic Highways, I thought, you know what, I think that would be a fantastic video to do, because I think Sonic Highways' documentary series kind of spawned from the Sound City documentary. If you haven't seen either of these two shows, it's a must see, especially if you're into analog music and analog recording. Sound City, just to summarize, is he goes into the history of the Sound City and what albums were recorded there. Fleetwood Mac, Tom Petty, everybody. Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album. I mean, it just goes on and on, and he goes into the rise and fall of that studio, and then it's kind of like a two-part documentary, and then he buys the Neve board, takes it to his studio, and then makes a record with classic artists. And that's where this comes from. So it's not like this is just a greatest hits of Sound City. He took the artists from these hits and made a record out of it. And it's just, I mean, just from start to finish, it's a great documentary. And then on top of that, you get an album with him and the Foo Fighters, making records with classic artists who pretty much had some sort of hand in Sound City. So then from there, they go and make Sonic Highways, where they just tour different cities and make music based off of different studios that they go to. They go to New York, Washington, D.C., Austin, Seattle, I mean, Chicago. They're all over the place. And they kind of take what made that city, you know, that scene of that city, I guess, and they get some sort of local artist involved and they make a song for each city. And it's just a great idea. And it was overall, I mean, whether you're watching the documentaries or you're listening to albums, it's win-win for everybody. So I'll put some links to where you can go to download like the digital version, purchase the digital version or rent the digital version of each of these. If you have HBO, go on HBO Go, check them out for Sonic Highways. And then Sound City, you'll probably have to pick it up either, like in digital format or like a Blu-ray or DVD. But I'll start with Sound City. So once Dave Grohl got the Neve console, which, just to summarize, the Neve console is the console that was used at Sound City for recording. Nirvana Nevermind is probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular album that was recorded at Sound City, which you can imagine is why Dave Grohl had so much passion about making this, because that album changed his life as well as everybody involved in it. And it sounds great. I mean, the tone on that album is still top notch. So what he did is he did a project with different artists. So each song has, he and maybe some of the different Foo Fighters, one way or another, somebody's in there. And he makes a song with each of these people, and it's great. I feel like the lyrics are a little bit rushed, which, you're not going to get. I guess I wasn't expecting just this greatest album I've ever heard. I think the music's fantastic. I just think that the lyrics just seemed a little bit rushed. But, I mean, honestly, you can overlook that. I mean, you got Stevie Nicks, Rick Springfield, Corey Taylor from Slipknot. There's Queens of the Stone Age, Paul McCartney. I mean, don't need to say anything more than that. Trent Reznor. My favorite two tracks are these two. But yeah, I can't say it enough. It's just a great idea. It was a great. You get the nostalgia of the different recordings that were done there. And I really thought Dave Grohl made it. You felt how important that place was, and again, I think this was kind of, just in my opinion, he'd probably tell you something different, but I just felt like this was kind of the seed that was planted when he did this project that led to Sonic Highways. So there's a picture of the board right there. I thought the piece or the part they do with Buckingham Nicks and Fleetwood Mac and that history behind that album, um, it's really interesting. And then Rick Springfield and his relationship with the Sound City management and people there, it's really interesting. I mean, before this documentary, all I knew about Rick Springfield is he did Jesse's Girl and a couple other songs that I liked, but you get a pretty in-depth look at Rick Springfield because he had so much to do with the studio. It's Paul McCartney, Josh Homme, Butch Vig. I think the download card's in there and it's preventing me from sliding this back in there. There it goes. But yeah, the download card comes with the album, digital version of the album. So, and I know that's pretty common with vinyl, but it doesn't always happen. So it's nice when you get it. So yeah, Sound City. So moving on to Sonic Highways. Sonic Highways has 10 different covers, I believe. The most common cover is it's like a mix of all the different cities that they recorded at onto one album cover. And it may be in here somewhere, I don't recall. But like this is, I got the Austin one. I ordered this directly from the Foo Fighters store when I pre-ordered it years ago. And I live in Texas, so, and I'm not far from Austin, so I thought it'd be cool to get the Austin album. And but if you get the one with all of the cities, it'll have like this picture kind of merged with the other, I believe it was 8 or 9 cities that they recorded at. So yeah, it's 8 cities, so there's 9 total covers. The mixture, and then there's 1 cover for each city if you opted to do that. My second choice, if I would have not been able to get the Austin cover, would have been Seattle, just because that's where, you know, Nirvana kind of rooted from, and I thought it'd been cool to have that. But I went hometown technically, so that's why mine has the Austin the Austin picture on it. Kind of a map there. If I'm not mistaken, Something from Nothing was Chicago, Feast in the Family was Washington, Congregation was Nashville, What Did I Do, God Is My Witness is Austin, Outside is, I can't remember right off the top, it says it right over here. Joshua Tree, California, that's right. In the Clear is New Orleans. Subterranean is Seattle. And I Am a River is New York, I believe. So if you watch the HBO video, or the series, each episode is basically each city they went to. So it's really interesting to hear the background and just the history behind not only how they made these songs, but the history behind the scenes that were in those particular cities. So in a video I did yesterday when I did the Mudhoney single, I mentioned that sometimes you get perks when you buy from the record labels instead of buying from like Amazon or the retailers. And I'll show you one of these perks, which just fell out right there, that I was not expecting when I got this. So I'll show you the album real quick. Kind of like the postcard record sleeve. And the lyric sheet. So when I bought this from the online store, you know, obviously I knew I was getting the vinyl. I knew the download card came with it. But what I didn't know was going to come with it was this. And this is one of the sound sheets that play on the 45. A lot of you gentlemen out there that are probably, 35 years, 40 years old and over know exactly what this is. If you don't know what this is, it's basically like a cardboard. I mean, I'm going to try to explain it just the best I can. It's just like a little piece of cardboard, and they actually put grooves in it, and make it look like a record. And you put it on your player, and you play it. And just like it says here, you put your needle down, and it plays a single. A lot of these used to come in magazines, things like that, and you just get kind of extras like this from time to time back in probably in the 70s and 80s mostly, is that I recall. Like anybody I know who got these would have been like in a magazine or something like that. So I thought, again, Dave Grohl's going through this nostalgia with these two albums, and just thought it was a really cool bonus when I opened up my Sonic Highways. Not just for the fact that it's kind of a retro way of playing a song, but he freaking covered Rocky Erickson's Two-Headed Dog, which in the Austin episode of the Sonic Highways, he talks about Rocky Erickson, who was the lead singer of the 13th Floor Elevators, also had quite a few solo albums. And if you don't know the history, or if you've not heard the 13th floor elevators, that's a whole other issue, or a whole other thing to look into. But he covers Two-Headed Dog by Rocky Erickson, and they touch on it in the episode. But I wasn't expecting to get this. So I've got the single Two-Headed Dog. I thought the Foo Fighters did a great job on that. One thing I don't know, and anybody out there who did the same thing as me and got their hands on Sonic Highways with the sound sheet in there, I think that this is the only one they sent out, was Two-Headed Dog. I thought I got this one because I bought the Austin record, and I thought, okay, well, they were throwing in the Austin single with the Austin record. But I've never really been able to confirm that. So if somebody out there ordered, another city with the city cover specifically to that city, and they got another one of these for a different song, let me know. I'd be really interested to find out if they have a bunch of these floating around, or is it just that they just do Two-Headed Dog. Because if there's more of these floating around, I'm going to have to try to get my hands on some of them, because it's really cool. But yeah, so overall, that's the two albums. Again, thanks for... I gotta thank the subscriber who mentioned Sonic Highways. I probably would have gotten around to it eventually, but I just thought it was a good time to go ahead and record the video, because the subject came up of the grunge scene and Nirvana and Dave Grohl, and I thought this was a great way to show off something in my collection that was related to that. So quite a few things to take from here. If you haven't seen Sonic Highways, if you haven't seen Sound City, go check them out. I guarantee you'll like it. If you don't have the albums, check out the albums. If you haven't heard from about the 13th floor elevators, go check out the 13th floor elevators. Give you a lot to listen to. Great 60s psychedelic band. And again, thanks for watching. Subscribe, because there's always going to be more coming. Take care.